too.
Looks the same.
Yeah, I'm just happy I'm not pixelated this time. I don't know what to do with my phone or my hands.
Got 9 people looking at you already. You're a handsome dude. It's probably that stash.
That's what I was telling myself, but, you know, could be my intro. Still no Amanda. I'll probably get another text
not here.
in the wrong account.
You want me to sing while we wait?
That's what I was going to work on my intro. God.
Mustache rides for all.
You
having trouble?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody. We're waiting on, we'll get Amanda to join us here in a minute. Dave and I can't do much without Amanda leading us.
We can do a lot. You usually get in trouble.
Is that Becky at Chamois or is that Cara at Chamois? We'll report back, Panda. Cara, have you recovered from the weekend? Do you have your voice? Are you hoarse?
Yeah.
Yeah, we invited you like a million times. Like, where's Amanda?
I know, it does that thing where it sends the request and then if I don't click it in time, it goes away.
No voice, but all the feels. Talking to Cara.
All right, we are here. Hello, everyone. Sorry about the delay. David jumped on the Man with TUFF account, and then I was like, "You're on the right account."
What you're talking about?
Yeah, Bobby knows this problem when you have too many grams. All right. So hello, everybody. I am Amanda Nauman. This is David Sheik up here. And over here, are you over here?
Sure.
Is that right? Does it look right?
On the left.
That's Bobby Thompson. So yeah, we are here today to talk about Mid-South. Dave and I have been every year since 2018, and we did not go this year. Money stuff, life stuff, you know how it is. But we still wanted to talk about Mid-South, so we asked Bobby to come on. He's going to tell us about his ride, and we will also have Jonas Woodruff joining us at the halftime show for the second half. Essentially, we're doing a mid-pack attack overview of Mid-South and also the pointy end, because Jonas was at the pointy end for a while, but not the whole time. You'll find out why. So yeah, we'll get into it. A big part of the reason why we're doing this is because in 3 weeks, Dave and I will be out in Kansas to join Bobby for our first TUFF camp in Kansas, and that pairs up with Flint Hills Gravel Ride on April 8th.
Correct.
Yes, April 8th.
That's right.
The Saturday before Easter. If you're not already signed up,
I should buy some Easter eggs.
Join us. You should. We should do some bunny themed thing.
Oh,
Peeps?
I love Peeps.
Are we doing Peeps?
Cotton candy Peeps are awesome. We could do a whole segment here on Peeps.
Don't go down
yes,
the road.
For sure. And flavors. All right, so we'll get into this. We're going to start out with some questions that we have written down. What was the first year? What year did you first go to Bobby's event, Bobby Wintle? And when did it start? Give us some of your background.
Yeah, it's important. There's 2 Bobbies on I-35, Bobby Wintle and then me up the road. So I went to Mid-South the first year. I've been to every single Mid-South. So 2013 was the first Mid-South down there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've been to all of them. I haven't ridden. I missed 2 years ago when you guys broke my shoulder out at rock cobbler.
Oh, no, that was Sam.
Yeah. When Sam broke my shoulder out there, I was there, but I was supporting. I couldn't ride that there. So, yeah, I've been to all of them. So.
That was that the year
so
that
2000,
freezing.
2013,
yeah.
2013 it started. No, it was actually decent during the day. I got it to like in the low 60s. But it was overcast the entire day. And then about midway through my ride, which I was not mid-pack back then, I was definitely back of the pack back then. We got downpoured on, and by mile 70, most of us had broken our derailleurs. And by mile 80, 83, almost all the riders at that level were getting picked up. It was just beyond crazy. But that was the first year. So all of us were like, what's this mud stuff? You can't ride your bike in it. You can't ride your bike in mud. You have to get picked up if it's mud. Right. Since then, we've learned that not only can you ride your bike in mud, you can carry your bike in mud and still finish the events and stuff. But no, the first year there was rain also, but it was during the race. So, and it was cold and freezing. I actually broke my derailleur. I didn't even know what a derailleur was. I just thought I broke my bike. I took a picture and said, hey, this is supposed to be this way. And I was too scared to go to any of the houses along the route because Oklahoma can be very, very rural, and it was close to the evening time, so it was dark. So I walked to the first small town, went to this itty bitty little tiny community church, and everybody there was washing their bikes off, right? They had got their hose from this church. So I washed me off. So I completely drenched myself in water to get all the mud off me, but my bike is broke. Yeah. So my bike was broken. Little did I know that after dark, it got back down into the 40s. And by the time the truck came to pick me up, I had the shivers and I couldn't stop. It was so cold. So, yes.
Man.
Mid-South. Yeah.
So was this the 10th running of the event, like in person?
I can't do the math that quick. I would say that we missed 1 year, so probably not the 10th.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw Kara from Shame Better say 10th edition.
There you go.
Maybe it was.
Human popsicle. Yes, it was, Kara. So, yeah, definitely.
So, does that mean that Mammoth Tough can say that last year was our third since we've canceled because of pandemic and fire? Well, I mean, technically, that's how we're playing it.
Yeah.
This is going to bring up my same conversation when everybody talks about broken course records and they change the course every year.
We'll get to that later. Yes.
Oh, sorry. I spoke too soon.
Well, get to it now.
How was it? What changed?
So the route this year was amazing, and that's why we'll get to, that's why I chose the bike I chose. One of the reasons, actually. I knew the roads that we were going on. Last year we went north, which, I like going north, but for those of you who are not familiar with it, when you see the pictures of the red dirt mud and all the red dirt roads, most of that is south of Stillwater. So when you south and west. So the stuff up north, a lot of that's just great ag roads. And I don't know if it's necessarily ag roads, but what I call ag roads, hard packed gravel. The limestone crushed gravel up that way. So it's a different feel going south and west. You get that when it's dry, it's really hard pack. And it's like pavement. It's awesome down there. But it's also extremely hilly down in that way. And that's where you see all the epic pictures of people just for miles and miles up hills and down hills walking through mud because it is dirt. So once that gets rainy, it's almost amazing to see the road dry. You're on this road and you're like, wait a minute, I know this road, but I'm used to doing it at 2 miles an hour, not 20 miles an hour. So yeah, I was super stoked that he went back that way. He threw in a typical Bobby road down there that's just 2-lane, 2-wide path, a Jeep road for a couple miles. It wasn't too gnarly. It was pretty fun. And then towards the end of the route, I'm not good at doing mileage on single track. It all seems like it's 100 miles to me, even if you just barely get on single track, but probably 2 or 3 miles of single track, which was fun, except that I got to tell you, Bobby, that was tough. If you ever watch this, I'll just tell you, I'll just text you later. Doing single track at mile 88, 87, when you're tired, exhausted, and it's roots that are so big, they're sticking out of the ground. So you're bouncing off the roots. That was hard.
Are you saying
I saw 3 people
ruts
go
or
down.
like tree roots? Which one?
Roots.
For everyone else,
Yes.
like a tree root?
Like roots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
I meant
ruts.
rut.
I'm not.
Okay, tree
Oh
root.
man, I
I
mean,
can't.
the thing is I can't say we've ever ridden the same route every time we've been there. And so whenever I see these things in like social media and stuff, like another course record broken, and you're like, why are we doing this again? It's a different route always, and so
Well,
yeah.
I agree with you, and it's the same way with any of the events we go to. Inbound also is, yeah, they talk about a course record, and well, I mean, it's a brand new route. How can you have a course record on a brand new route? It's a record for that route.
Yeah.
So I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Leadville, I get it because they generally use the same exact route, but some of the other stuff, you're like, come on now. It's like not even in the same direction, guys.
Yeah, I was watching the live stream, and I was thinking it was going to be a very roady course, and I was like, man, this is going to come down like a bunch sprint or something. But that was the smart thing about them putting the 1.5 miles of single track. That's all it was, according to Kara. 1.5 miles of single track at the end, and that was the deciding factor in the race for the men, at least, you know. And I thought that was pretty awesome that they had the wherewithal to know, like, well, we should split it up somehow before we get to the finish, and they did.
I mean, for the rest of us, for the mid-pack and back, putting all those hills in the beginning, I mean, within 10 miles, we were on the hills. And that definitely broke a lot of us up to some degree. So split us all up.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because the beginning of that thing gets spicy. It's the only race I've ever had to try to bunny hop human bodies and broke somebody's bike when I landed on him, and it was the brand new model of the Niner that we are riding, and I'm just like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Well, the point being, we do love the Mid-South, and any route he does, I love the fact that he always changes it up. What else is your favorite thing about Mid-South and the vibe in general?
Well, I mean, we've always called it, that's our gravel reunion from the winter. You know, a lot of us, and yes, we all know that I like to hide on Zwift during the winter, but it used to be what it was. Unbound was the big event. So Dirty Kansas Unbound was the first big gravel ride of the year for many years, but you couldn't go into that unprepared. So when Mid-South came around, we just sat on our tails, you know, the mid-pack and back people kind of just sat on our tails during the winter, and then we pick up a bike in March and start hitting a few miles to try to get ready for Dirty Kansas for the 200. Well, when Mid-South came around, it gave you, now you couldn't wait till March to get up, because if so, Mid-South was going to hurt even more than it already did. And so you had to try to fight through some of the winter miles just to get ready for Mid-South. So then it became kind of like it was the grand reunion of everyone coming off the couch and getting back on the bike, and here we go. And then you come home, the time changes, spring comes, and the group rides start back up in the evening. So it coincides with all that. And in fact, this week, Wednesday World starts here, and our Wednesday night group ride starts because of the time change, but that coincides with Mid-South. So it's when I say it's the start of our season, yeah, gravel goes all year round, but it's really truly the feel of the gravel family season that starts the year. So it's special.
I always say it's like you guys come out of
that's
hibernation.
Exactly what it is. So it's perfect timing for most of us in the Midwest. So, and yes,
nice.
There is the Wintle hug that we all know and love. So
true,
right.
True. There's that part as well.
Yes.
Dave?
I don't know, you guys were going crazy, but yeah, that's what I was wondering, is now that Bobby's trying to stay fit during the winter, I guess that answers why he's not on his comfy couch of a fat bike, or what's going on there, because he used to be the champion.
So the reason I didn't ride, right, so I won fat bike last year, and I will say that I won it because there was only like 3 or 4 people who entered it. So we can be honest. No, we can be honest about that. But I'll say that as 3 or 4 people who entered it rode our hearts out. So I'm glad that I was able to hop on the top podium last year. But I mean, and that's the thing. So you guys probably feel this quite often, but most of us, we don't have that feeling where the entire 100 miles we're either chasing or being chased. So you keep the heart rate up, that 150, 160, the entire 100 miles, right? Most of us do that for like the first 10 or 15 miles. And then we realize that we're not going to win anything, and we're having a great day on the bike, and we chill when we ride. So last year, it can be quite stressful when you're not used to that. And last year was stressful, trying to ride and trying to race the fat bike. I'd roll into the checkpoint that people were yelling at me because they knew me. They were yelling, "You're in first, you're in first, you're in first, go, go, go." And they're hitting you and hitting your back, and you got to go, go, go. And then, so if you have to, any kind of stoppage, any kind of slowdown, you're like, "No, I'm losing this, I'm losing this, I'm losing this." You're hitting yourself, you got to go, got to go. That was enough. That was enough last year. And so this year, I did sign up for fat bike initially, but the more I thought about it, and when I saw the weather was going to be 80 degrees, I wanted to enjoy the day a little bit more, ride fast when I felt like riding fast. But if I wanted to talk to someone, sit up and talk, and I knew that my own competitiveness wouldn't let me do that on the fat bike because I would be racing with a fat bike. So I got a new bike last week. We put it together, and I had a blast. I had a fun day. It was so much fun.
So that anxiety you felt last year, that's pretty much the last 8 years of my life.
Am I near the front? Where am I?
Now you know.
How far ahead's the group?
Like,
How many seconds am I? Do you think I can close this? What's the wind doing? Yeah.
Yeah, there was a stoplight last year. We all came to a stoplight. So it did have the same entry into town as last year. And there's like 3 or 4 stoplights that you had to go through. All like block by block. Boom, 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 right at the end. And I rolled into that first stoplight last year. You're just looking over your shoulder because it's red, and you just know that second place is going to catch you at the stoplight, and there's no way you're going to win a sprint finish. Blah, 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 blah. All this, even at the very end, it was still racing through your head. And this was a lot more chill. So
nice. All right. Kara said she wanted to see what I would have done through that red single tracky river crossing section. Was that the only one this year?
It was the only one. And I can tell you, Kara, we can talk about this. This was going to come. This comes up because of some events that happened prior to that. I was further back than I had hoped to be. And by the time I got to that river crossing, which we've had a lot of river crossings in the past 12, 20, 15 years, however long I've ridden a bike, it was completely, I'm sure the first of the group just roared through it. I will say that on the right-hand side, I watched a guy twice, the same guy, crash, go into the water because it had like an extra 6-inch dip right in the middle. And he kept trying to over and over. So, which was actually, I say, things happen and you make the best of them, right? So at that point, there was no way you could ride across it because there was standing room only from ditch to ditch of people waiting to walk it. So you had to stop. And you had to watch.
Same puddle as we've passed in the past. You got to go on the side.
Yeah, it's the same puddle that was there when Jeff and I raced tandem, and there's a cool picture of the mud and the water going all through it. I see you, Kara. Trust me, it's completely rideable if you know the line to pick. It was rideable on the east side, and a lot of us who've been there before knew the line to pick. So,
right.
But I will say very quickly, it was very fun to watch this gentleman. I wish I knew his name. Kara, he tried his heart out to make it across this water, and he kept doing the same line over and over, and the dip was there over and over, and we were all cheering him on, and he was, "I'm doing it." He'd grab his bike and he'd run back through the water, get back on the bike and try it again, and that was fun. So
it seemed so early though that I was like, man, it was like a Disneyland line.
It was I think I believe it was 12 miles in, because
Wow. Yeah, too soon. Cool. You got a
So
flat
is something that you guys, and we will talk about at camp and stuff like that, is because I rode outside my comfort level because I was feeling pretty frisky and I was feeling good and pretty spicy, and I was trying to hold wheels well above the speed that I should have been holding wheels, and way up closer to the, I won't say I was near the front because that would be disrespectful to all the people who could way faster than me, but I was closer to the front than I was to the back, and we were going at a pretty good pace. I was trying to hold wheels. I took a really hard line, fast speed, carried it all the way down, went up, came up on a line, and tried to jump over to another line. And when I carried that 20-mile-plus speed through the middle and into the other line, I hit a 3-inch rock. And it was immediate spray everywhere. Stopped, and there was a 1/2-inch gash in the sidewall.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
Yeah.
And it was the most disheartening, mood-killing moment that I've experienced in a long time, because I felt so good, and my heart rate was just boom, 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 and all of a sudden, nothing. And you're just, I'm serious. I stood there for, it seemed like 5 minutes. It's probably 30 seconds. But I just stared at the tire. I'm like, I'm just going to call somebody. You know, you just.
How was it?
10.
Yeah.
Mile 10.
I mean, that's the thing is most of these, I think, I know for a fact with Unbound, every time, the best rides I've had are because I flat and then I just ride my pace and I can just ride through a lot of people. And we talked about that, which we'll get into. But the other thing is when it happens that early, to stay positive, you're just like, man. And so, yeah, a lot of this stuff we talk about with Midwest travel and especially the Flint Hills at camp, and we'll get into, but it's fun to be able to tell people these kinds of stories and then show them from experience, like, here's how to deal with it. Because it's like, when you get that sidewall gash and you don't have super glue and sticky back, boots and all this other stuff that, like, over the years, in the beginning we used to have like tires that were just cut as boots and you're like trying to duct tape them in, and now it's like, yeah, you can get a lot more special. So we get to talk about some of those things, laugh at stories people have had out on the road, and then, but yeah, sometimes, like you were saying, you get excited and you're there and you're farther up than you normally are, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh man, now I got to get back on it. But it sounded like you had a pretty good day.
So while you're standing there staring at that, because you are further up than you used to, all you hear is whiz, 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 whiz behind you, and people yelling, "You okay, Bobby? You okay, Bobby? You okay, Bobby?" And you're just like, I don't even want to look at you right now. And yeah,
that's not what people say eventually when they go by. They're like, "Where's Amanda? Where's Amanda?" I'm like, well, she was back there, and then she went by me a while ago.
The I don't know if you want to call it funny part or whatever, but in relation to the story we just told about the pond, it was 1.5 miles before the pond. So after I had spent 15 minutes changing my tire, and then you get back on, you're like, okay, here we go. And you head up the hill, your heart rate starts picking back up, you go to the next hill, and why is everybody stopped? Oh, it's pond. And so we all had to, so within 1.5 miles, I had to stop again for another 10 minutes. And that's when I finally just took the deep breath and was just like, you know what, it's going to be a fun day. So, and it was.
Yeah, and then after that, you texted us later. You're like, "Oh, my power was great the whole rest of the day and everything." I was like, "That's because you kind of like slowed it down."
Like Dave said, you pass people all day, but at Mid-South, when you get used to it and you get used to knowing all these people, it's people you know that you're passing all day long, so you get to talk all day long a little bit. Hey, I'm going to catch the next person. Hey, I'm going to catch the next person, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'd say that's like.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember in the very beginning years of going to DK and talking to like Cameron, who was a coach that worked with us from Kansas, and Leland and others, and they're like, listen, just make friends with the locals. They love showing you and talking to you about the area, and they love taking big pulls. And like Freeman and I would just sit in a group, and these dudes would be talking our ears off like, rah, and then they blow up, and it's like, all right, guys, that was awesome. See you later. You're like, you can't even sit on my wheel right now because you went so hard. And so we just keep pedaling the same pace. And but it was fun. It was like, yeah, you just kind of definitely brings the spirits back up, and you just kind of make friends along the way all day. That's kind of part of the gravel thing, right?
That's exactly right. I will say that chamois butter being at mile 66, out of the whole day of feeling good, the only time I really kind of felt low was we had a big headwind section for about 6 or 7 miles climbing out of the midway, the midpoint. And by the time I got to the chamois butter station, seeing them up on, I think it was Mount Chamois or Mount Butter or whatever it was called up there, it was perfect timing. I hung around for a little bit, and after I left there, dude, I cranked the tunes up. I was singing. I almost wrecked because I was dancing on the bike. I was going down. I'd pass people rocking out to, I don't know, Britney Spears or Tiffany or whoever, Taylor Swift, just rocking like this, and it was a lot of fun. I almost wasted as many calories dancing as I did
Did
riding.
they have bacon?
They had bacon, and I actually did not partake of the bacon.
What? Okay, well, get into your aid station food stuff. Did you follow your plan well on the stuff that you carried? And I was gonna ask what you took at aid stations, but we know not bacon. So what else?
Yes, I actually did follow everything very well this time. I took an assortment of stuff that I have used and loved in the past, and drank when I needed to drink. I didn't drink as much as you would tell me to drink, but I drank what I had planned on drinking.
Just so everybody knows, Bobby will ride 14 hours in 95% humidity at 90 degrees and drink water. And then we usually see each other in the hospital at night. I don't know.
So we're still proud of him.
I mean, that's the thing too, is when we say aid stations, the other part about Mid-South, like some of these other Midwest events, is not all of them have like a true aid station, because this one is bring your own crew, right?
Yeah, the midpoint is bring your own crew. That is correct. Yeah,
And then now
it's basically
other companies are coming, like they bring some of the other stuff out on course, like Chamois Butter will have some things here and there, and others now that it's more popular.
Yeah, so it's viewed more or less as an oasis on the course.
Yeah.
You know good and well, even from, well, I won't say the very first one, but definitely from early on in Land Run Mid-South, there was always a surprise oasis that wasn't as much of a surprise because we had seen it the previous year, but it was never mentioned. It was never talked about. It was usually just someone with a table and a bourbon shot and maybe a little bit of food or some chips. But then it's grown. You have wonderful sponsors now and wonderful partners now that have these grand oases out there with chairs and everything, and the bourbon and the bacon, and it makes it a lot of fun, and it can be very timely. So
rule of thumb, if like I was coaching people, it's don't sit down because you stay too long. And so I always laugh at some of those aid stations, or I see them at like Grand Fondos, and you're like, dude, there's like a buffet going on, and people are sitting in chairs, and then they don't leave there for a half an hour. And at the end of the day, for 3 of them, you're like, you just had an extra hour and a half outside.
Yeah, I will say, and Kara can probably attest to this, the only issue with the way that Bobby did the courses this year was that, usually you have the 100 and let's say a shorter course. They ride together and then they break apart, and the shorter course goes back to the finish line. Well, the way they were able to do this was the shorter course throughout the day weaved into the 100 multiple times, including the finish line. And one of those times was at mile 66, where the Chamois Butter aid station was. And so I'd be riding along, and you roll up and you see these people just sitting, chilling, and vibing, and you're like, these people are never going to finish. Well, then you realize, like, oh, they were on the 50. So you had to be careful not to get into too much into the moment, because you were with 50 people, not the 100 people, and they were almost done, and you still had 35 miles left.
Yeah.
So that happened. It was kind of cool throughout the day to weave into this. So
that's why they had to go and refill their stock for the aid station twice.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And I will point out, Scratch Labs also killed it at right before you went into the single track. Dude, we had gourmet quesadillas. Gourmet quesadillas
Jonas,
were there.
did you
Wow.
make it to the quesadillas?
I don't know. I was pretty out of it. I don't think so. I don't remember that.
Did
At
you
that
hit
point, he doesn't
the?
want cheese in his gut.
Did you hit the? What are they called? Those things that you were hitting on the single track, Bobby?
The roots,
Did you hit
the
those?
tree roots.
No, I made it there, but I don't even know how I made it there. I was just like, I just popped out on a road and I was like at the single track.
Oh man, I'm dying.
Nice.
But
Well,
Hi.
welcome, Jonas. Where he's down here on my screen. This is Jonas Woodruff.
California
He is
boy.
17 years old, right?
17.
And he was just at Mid-South, so we decided to have him on here. He kind of raced at the pointy end for a little bit, and we'll get into why he wasn't. But yeah, how did your day go overall,
Oh, I can't
Jonas?
hear you. You were like lagging.
Yeah.
Oh, how did
Oh,
your
well,
day go overall?
it was pretty good for like the first hour or so, but after that it was pretty bad. I would say not great. I had like stomach issues, so I just like couldn't keep any food down, and it just like I just bonked hard.
Yeah. Is that the first time you've been out to Mid-South?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I've never done Mid-South. I've done Unbound, but it was pretty similar, I think, like road wise. It felt like terrain wise. But yeah.
You mean
I
just
don't know.
rolling hills
Yeah.
that are endless?
Yeah. And you can see forever, but you can't see the finish.
Tons of trees too, you know? A lot of
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Exactly.
Like, the difference is it's
Well,
cool, and then
talked
you
a
get
little
to
bit
like
about
Unbound and
strategy.
it's hot as all can be, and then when there is a tree, Bobby, what do you guys call those out there? When everybody stops around them?
Oasis?
No, he says you got to find a
Yep.
shade tree, and I'm like, what's a shade
Oh.
tree?
Oh yeah. You have the occasional shade tree every 30 miles. Yeah.
But yeah, those are a thing. So.
I
So
need one
happy.
of those.
All right, so real quick, Jonas, I want to know what your strategy was going into this. Was it just to like hold on to the front?
Yeah,
as
so
long
I
as you
think
can?
I was like kind of looking at the wind a little bit because I knew that there was going to be crosswind, and I had heard a little bit like just from like stories that people were going to try and make it hard in the crosswind. So I was kind of looking at the wind and how like where it would start to get fast. So I found there was going to be like a right-hander where it kind of like a little bit kind of going straight into the water crossing. So I made sure I set up like on the right side or on the left side so that I could like carry as much speed through that corner and just like slingshot as far as I could to the front. And I was maybe like 20th wheel.
Okay.
But as soon as we made the right-hander, it was just like completely strung out. Like it felt like a crit. It was so hard. I think I did like out of the corner, I hit like 1,200 watts just trying to hold the wheel.
And this
So
is
it was like
in the first 10?
yeah, like literally like it was bad. So then I was trying.
He's talking
I
about.
was kind of trying to stay out of the wind, but it was hard because it was strung out.
Yeah. Yeah, crosswind at that point?
Yeah, so it was like left to right wind.
Yeah, so what he's saying and why people make it hard is if you can stay in the front group and everybody's echelon getting a draft to the side because it's a crosswind, the road only has so much space, so then you have to start another line or you're not getting a draft, and then it just separates as a group. So if the front guys work together and rotate, the rest of the group falls away, and then
so that's exactly what happened. Like it split, like 10 guys got off the front, and then a lot of people missed the split. Like, and it was so fast that if you missed it, unless you were like Payson missed it actually. because he was in my group, and then he obviously had the power to like make it across eventually, but yeah, I was just hanging on for dear life, and then people were like dropping wheels, so every time someone dropped a wheel, you have to like sprint to get back on, and it was like it was hard. I think I heard they did like 380 for an hour in the front group.
Shit.
So I was not gonna do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Wow. How was the wind for you, Bobby? Were you trying to?
Bobby was repairing a 3-inch tear.
I did it. I did exactly what I always do. I rode solo the entire day and just took it on. But I'm also really used to that wind. So the crosswind going where he was talking about, because I wasn't trying to hold wheels.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to ride within myself and then just kind of go the little extra, add 20 to 30 watts when I needed to here and there because I still had it in reserve. So I was still cruising 20 miles an hour by myself going west with the crosswind. The only time it really hit me was going directly into the wind, and the wind shifted. I think Jonas will tell you, we got lucky. The wind shifted about halfway through the day. We actually had a tailwind home, or otherwise we would have had that 15, 20 mile per hour wind for the last 20 miles.
Welcome to Mammoth Tough.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Jonas, did you go through the water? Did you ride through that low water creek crossing with the water?
No, so it was I was in the second group still there, so it was like there was only 20 guys in the group maybe, and it was pretty like easy to get through. But I did see the pictures, and that looked terrible. I would have been like going around people on the hill.
Yeah, that's funny. So, what is the plan for your dad?
Yeah, so I started with the pack because I didn't really want to have to like reach for bottles when I was riding. So I was just gonna drop the pack at the halfway point, and then so I I don't really like eating at the start of I like eating gels at the start of the race. So I just threw a bunch of drink mix in it and tried to get like most of my hydration from that. So yeah, my plan was to just grab bottles at the aid station.
Okay, and kind of milk the pack throughout the ride. Did we come to a conclusion on if it was something that you mixed or if your bladder was dirty? Did we figure that out yet?
It was just a combination of things. Like I think it was a combination of it just being crazy hard, like and I don't think that my my Camelback hose got washed, and I also
the past year.
Like, no, it's brand new. It's brand new. I've used it once. I've used it one time. So yeah, but then I had like 2 gels probably in the first hour. So we made it to about the water crossing, and I think I dropped my chain right after the water crossing. So I do this effort to get back on and like make it back on, and I just like start to feel all weird, and I knew it was coming, so I just pulled off and started just vomiting on the side of the road. And I sat there for I was soft pedaling for like 10 minutes, just getting past like over and over and over again. And then, so I finally got into I think I was riding by myself for a while, just soft pedaling. And yeah, I don't know. I made it like 45 minutes. It was bad.
So, Bobby, this is what happened. I checked the results, and I'm like, oh, man, Jonas in the DNF, what happened? And then his dad starts messaging me, and he was like, oh, yeah, I was vomiting, I don't know. And he's like, the only thing we did different was we, filled his bladders with water from the hotel. Maybe the water was bad. And I'm, sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, the water wasn't bad. I was like, or your bladder?
The bladder wasn't dirty. I don't think the bladder was dirty. It was the hose. It was brand new. Brand
Whatever.
new.
I literally
used it like a week ago for the first time.
So this is a lesson.
We're going to do that at camp, too. We still have an open spot, Jonas, if you want to come.
I might need it.
Your coach will be there. He's going to learn some stuff, too.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. He's going to give you navigation from Hammerhead, and then maybe you won't get lost anymore.
Oh, yeah. He needs one of those, from what I've heard. You too. Oh, wait. Oh, I guess you already have.
I don't get lost anymore because I got mine a year ago.
Yeah. There you go.
So for everyone listening, a life hack that I learned a year ago is that you can turn those bladders.
I've never. No, I didn't know that.
You can't on a Camelback. You only can on the others.
Oh, I had a Usui.
Oh, okay. The Hydro Pack ones, you can turn them inside out. Yeah. And then they sell like Camelback or Amazon. You can buy like the pipe things to go in and like clean the inside.
Really?
I just like open it and rinse it.
No. This is why you're vomiting on the side of the road. Please clean your hose.
Oh my god.
Oh,
all right, so
man.
What's next ride-wise for Jonas? What do you have coming up?
So, I guess I'm gonna do Strada Rosa this weekend, which is like a little gravel race here in Redlands. But the main thing will be BWR San Diego.
Are you going back out to Unbound this year?
Yeah, I got in for the 100 again, so I gotta not do what I did last time, preferably.
Yeah. This is like Jonas is just from SoCal. We've known Jonas since he's like 14 and started coming to cyclocross camp when we did these development camps with USA Cycling, and so we've known Jonas for a while, and now he's fast enough to race at the pointy end and some of this bigger gravel stuff, and is going around doing bigger events. But yeah, he also had COVID like 3 weeks ago. So
yeah, that was also like I kind of knew that I wasn't gonna be great because I've done like no volume the past like 6 weeks, so
yeah,
I was just kind of like a matter of time before I was dying.
Yeah. Bobby, what's up for you?
No.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I mean, you got a lot of Fortnite fans on here, so I just had to ask.
No.
I'm going to go up to a friend's event up in Iowa, Los Hills, Grinduro, and then I'm going to drop back down to Arkansas and do the Rule of 3, which I'm pretty stoked about doing. Rule of 3, mix of kind of like, I mean, it's a mix of single track, pavement, and gravel down there, and it'll probably be hilly. And you guys know that my expertise is not in single track.
Yeah, I was just going to say, can we take some new brake pads this time?
I actually signed up in Fat Bike, so it'll be a true test. Okay. It'll be fun. It'll be a long day, but it'll be a grind. So,
is it a couple weekends before?
Yeah, it's like 2 weekends before Unbound, so it'll be a great builder for going into that.
Okay, well, the only recommendation there is usually people get sick after that, so make sure you don't put all the cow poop because it's rained the past couple of years at that event.
Says the girl that washed her bottles in the river next to the.
Yes, I'm an expert.
So get a new bladder, get a new hose, and don't drink the cow poop.
Clean your hose.
Yeah. Perfect. Clean your hose. That's right.
You have to do that.
Bobby was supposed to answer that with the next thing he's doing is camp with us at his event, Flint Hills Travel Ride.
Right.
Okay, you asked what ride I was going to go do, and let's face
what's
it.
Next for you?
My event is a run for me because that's what I'm doing most of the day is running. Flint Hills Gravel Ride is in 2.5 weeks. We have just over 600 signed up. You both will be in town in just 2 weeks, and it's going to be an absolute blast. We're doing camp leading into my race, so we'll have 3 days of camp leading into my event, and I got some special routes for you guys planned for those 3 days also. So,
yeah.
And it's in my hometown in America. It's right here near Emporia. So.
I know you're stressed out, but we won't be there for 3 weeks, and your race is in 3.5 weeks.
Yeah, you can.
So
It's pretty much tomorrow.
I know. Oh, too funny. What else was I going to ask you? Oh, and then right after the Rule of 3, you come back and you're getting ready for people to go on Ultra, right?
Yeah, I have a 1,000-mile bike packing event that starts this year called the Flint Hills Ultra. That was an absolute blast to research and plan out. And now I get to see who's crazy enough to go ride. And that starts the week in Memorial Day weekend. So if they ride it fast, they can come back for the Unbound Festival. Maybe they could just flow right into that, do that too. But no, it's a bike.
Could I be back in time to start the 350?
What's that? Oh yeah, you're gonna do that?
Do like 1350 in a week,
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm excited about it because it is a different breed of rider. I mean, they're just out there. There'll be some that are pushing it, but they're out there to explore and see the scenery. And we have a beautiful backyard that I get to show off. 1,000 miles, I get to show off a lot of it. So, and then I'll go ride Unbound. I'm trying to get my 9th Unbound finish, Unbound 200. So we'll go for that, and maybe I can retire when I hit 10 finishes.
Is there a 10? There's
no
10 award yet,
no, but
right?
I'm gonna eat some Peeps. I'm gonna eat some cotton candy, and maybe some cheesecake, and that'll be my reward.
Nice. And then Jonas, have you ever done the 200? You only do the 100.
I'll probably try and do it like next year. I don't know. I don't know if I want to ride for that long in Kansas.
Dude, it's under 12 hours. You can do that.
When you were like, do you remember when Jonas was like 15 and you told me?
Did I say that?
When you're 14, you're like, my dad won't let me.
Oh, maybe. I did. Well, that was when I did like the 24-hour back then. So I could do it, but I just don't know if I want to do it right now. Maybe.
This Mid-South cracked you hard.
I want to go.
I don't even know you right now.
I don't like flat stuff anymore after this weekend. Yeah, no.
Man.
We're going to VW, all the VWRs only.
So
they have hills there.
Since you don't like flat stuff, you're going to come win Mammoth Tough. So, like, I should start making posters can you beat Jonas?
The what's it called? Section isn't in it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. No, it's great. Do Mammoth Tough, everyone watching. Best event out there.
All right. I'm going to call Matt after this and tell me.
Jonas did 5 miles of washboard and has been complaining since September.
It was more than that for sure.
You're right, 5.5.
All right, Jonas, you have Strata Rosa this weekend, and I know this is a last-minute plan, but what is your plan for it? And you also kind of won last year. You tied with McCullough, right?
I don't know. Maybe I came in before him.
I think he let you win. But tell me what the plan is this year.
I'm probably gonna try and I don't know. I'll probably just it's like a good time to just go for KOMs. So I'll probably just go for some of the local KOMs for fun. And just ride hard.
Nice.
But
that's not a bad idea.
I don't know.
I thought that the winner from the year before has to go to try to defend their title. Isn't this part?
Well, I didn't sign up, so I don't want to be I don't even know. I don't know what my plan is, but
we gotta work.
KOMs
PR
are more important than winning races.
Oh, okay.
Everyone can see those when they go on Strava.
Yeah, I just get a lot of emails of things that get taken from me.
Okay, one last nugget, Bobby. What are you thinking on routes for camp? Are you excited to show us some stuff that's going to be in the event and also not?
Am I thinking of routes for the event?
Yeah.
For camp?
No.
Yeah,
Camp.
so the first and last day of camp, you'll get to see a little bit of how you are going to start the race, kind of like what Jonas was saying. When you get some comfortable, you're able to get comfortable when the pack is at its busiest, and so I want you to see what the roads are going to be like when you're on race day, and then also for the finish. I want you to know what it's going to be like coming back into town at the end of the day, so that if you're gearing up for a sprint finish, or if you're just really feeling down on yourself and you come across a spot and you're like, you know what? I know where I'm at. I got like 6 miles left. Everything's going to be okay. So those will be showing up at camp, and then we have a longer day that we're going to go ride, and there I'm going to show you, we're going by my aunt's house. We're going by my sister-in-law's house. I'm going to show you my backyard. And Jonas, there's going to be a couple of climbs in there.
Really?
So, it's not all flat. Hey, real quick, my event during the summer, 75 miles, 7,000 feet of climbing.
But is it like sustained climbs?
No.
That's
I don't know.
It's a lot of little kidney punches.
That's the bad ones.
Yes, 7,000 cuts.
Maybe I'll be over it by next week.
We'll have Jonas
Perfect.
back on Monday.
Perfect.
Give me a week,
Sure.
and I'll sign up.
All right, everyone. We're going to have Jonas back on Monday to talk about Strata Rosa with Matt Freeman, who's going to be coming to camp with us in a few weeks. And, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll hear from Bobby again at some point before, but I think he's going to get a little bit too busy. So, yeah, anything else, guys?
You're going to Unbound Camp next week after we do the talk. They're all doing Strata Rosa this weekend. Bobby is getting ready for the event. I'm getting ready for camp and digging out of that. That's smell.
No, dear.
So, anyway, thanks for joining.
Thank
What
you,
else you
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Jonas. Thanks, Bobby.